Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Ness, Professor of Film and Media Studies in the Department of Broadcasting, and I am pleased to have with me today Thomas G. Smith, native of Canton, Illinois, and for several years, special effects coordinator on some of the most successful films ever made, including Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Dragon Slayer, and Return of the Jedi. His book, Industrial Light and Magic, The Art of Special Effects, is considered a landmark in the field, and he's also a historian who's written a Civil War novel, Massacre at Baxter Springs, that is based on a real incident that happened during the war. So with that as the shortest of introductions, would you please join me in welcoming Thomas G. Smith? What are some of the common visual effects? I know people talk about like matte paintings and things like that. Could you talk briefly about what some of the more common effects are that you did?
Just to give you an example, in ILM we had a model shop, so they made spaceships and models and whatever needed to be done. We had a matte painting department, and they painted the background pictures, the things that would be matte paintings. And we had a creature shop that made creatures. Like a lot of the Star Wars films had actually creatures on set. And coming out of the back of these creatures is a whole bundle of cables. So when the creature's eye goes like this, you can't do that with the muscles in your face, but somebody squeezing a little wire thing can actually connect it in the rubber. I remember we did E.T., one of the scenes in E.T. He's sitting on a hill, and there must have been 20 cable connections to the E.T. puppet. And we didn't have enough people to operate them. And I actually operated a couple of things to pull.
So you're the man behind E.T.
Well, not really. That was the only time, and the critical things I didn't get to do, like the eye blinks and that sort of thing.
And we were talking earlier, you mentioned that Spielberg didn't think E.T. was going to be a big film. He sort of thought of it as his art film, is that right?
Yeah, he liked it. It was a great script, but he had no hopes it was going to be anywhere near the hit of Poltergeist, which he was doing at the same time. And he thought Poltergeist, that would be the big film, the widescreen film. E.T. wasn't even a widescreen film. And it had many fewer effects than Poltergeist. So when we were working on it, we at ILM, sorry I've hit the mic, we at ILM thought that E.T. would not be as good a film as Poltergeist. So when it was all finished and we could see them, we knew we were wrong. I got to tell you about one shot.
Sure.
You keep asking about shots that might not be, were difficult. One of the most difficult and chancy shots in Poltergeist, near the end of the film, the house implodes. Now that was just one sentence in a script. And it was like a $100,000 shot to do it. And the way we did it, we spent weeks building the house, about that big, little lights in the window, and even furniture inside. And then we put cables to all the parts of it coming out the back. So on command, the cables would be yanked and pulled in. And then two guys, this is true, shotguns on the edges, ready to go. We got a camera in that went like 500 frames a second, so that what happened in a flash of the eye would be on camera. So the idea is you start the camera, go, you're out of film. I mean, there's a whole magazine in this fast camera. The problem is no take two. I mean, you've done it when you did it. Like we did take twos here at coming time, you couldn't do a take two. So I was very worried because it cost like $30,000 to build that house, plus the time you wasted. So we got all ready. It was all lit, all ready to shoot. And the director of photography, who had not really been around when they were setting it up, came out, took a meter reading, and he says, I think 5.6 is the f-stop we should use. And the cameraman who'd been taking meter readings said, Richard, that's got to be f4. That's not 5.6. Oh, put it at 5.6. Everybody, so I was beginning to worry he was going to be underexposed. They get ready, they shoot it, boom, just as it should have been. Very exciting, everyone cheers and so forth. Now you send the film off to the lab, you're going to see if you got it. We sent one print to Spielberg in Los Angeles. We got a print. The next morning we go in the screening room, put the thing up, and it looked beautiful, but it was underexposed. I thought, oh God, no way. So we're waiting to hear from Spielberg, who at the same time is looking at it in the alley. And he calls up. He said, Tom, I just ran the shot. I said, yeah, how's it look? Well, I'll tell you, the projectionist, I heard him. I could hear him saying, oh my God, when he projected it. Said, I think it's terrific. Meanwhile, the DP was saying, we're going to have to do it again. I was so relieved because he liked it. And I said, we're going to use that shot. We're not going to do it again. So we did use the shot, and it works fine in the film. You know, everybody likes it.
I wish we had another half hour to talk to you. This has been incredibly entertaining, and you'll just have to come back, and we'll talk about your work in theme parks and with Disney and all of the things that we didn't get to today. And Captain EO with Michael Jackson. So thank you again, and please join me in thanking Thomas G. Smith.